Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Well, I don't know about you, but I love me some Wednesdays. It's Wise Women's Wednesday. We've already got Deborah, Jeanette, Catherine, Jocelyn here in the house. Happy to have you all here. Very delighted to have you all here, as a matter of fact. So much going on. How is everybody doing with their Hot Melt 30, by the way? We are on, what is it, day 13? Day 13. Can you believe that? Almost at the halfway point. How's it feel? How are you doing? Are there pictures? You doing it? You doing it? Anne Hart, so good to have you here. I'm so glad you're here. Doris, you too. It's nice to have our ladies all grouped together. Anyway, just asking about that because, you know, that's what we're in the middle of doing right now. It's a good challenge. And I will tell you, remember, we are doing things with excellence. We will not do things perfectly, right? Hello there, Martha, Nancy, Mother Hen's in the house. Cheers. Nice to have you here. Anyway, so that's the big thing that's going on right now. And I just want to make sure that those of you who are Hot Melt 30ing, get in the group, support your fellow Hot Melt 30 women, and put a post up. Let us know how you're doing, because I love to support you. I like to see what's going on. So we have that going on. And did you see our supplement of the week? Look, let me just tell you what this is. It's Leptofix. Leptofix means that if your leptin's broken, we need to fix it, because your leptin is the brakes, right? Leptin's the brakes. Leptin's the one that says, stop eating, you're full. And I'll tell you, have you uncontrollable hunger, not anger. Hey, Sue, I'm glad you're here. Uncontrollable hunger. This is for you. It will take care of business and fix that leptin right up. I love this stuff. Buy one, get one free. Did you hear me? Buy one, get one. It's a great deal. Screaming deal. And we'll send you the ABCs. We will send you the ABCs. It's got everything on it, back and front, to remind you about why you're Hot Melt 30ing in the first place, or why you hot melt in the first place, and all the little components that make it special. I love this. Isn't it so pretty? Guess who made it? I'm going to give you one guess. Yeah, you're right. It was Amber. Anyway, so you'll get that with it too, just absolutely free. I just love it. No anger here, just gratitude. That's what I'm talking about, Sue. That's how it needs to be, right? Jackie's in the house. Did I miss you? How did I miss you, Jackie? You just snuck right on by, didn't you? Hello. I'm glad you're here. The other thing to remember too is that we are getting ready to begin on September 26th, which is a Tuesday night, I'm going to call it an intensive. It's not even a course. It's the Rising Tide. And look what happened. Hi, Kathy. This is the goal workbook and planner. And in it, it helps you to set up this is just incredible. It helps you to set up your goals. It lies flat. I love anything that lies flat when it's a workbook. You've got your daily goal tracker. It gives you everything that you need in order to put together brainstorming things, goals, things to think about, ask yourself these questions. There's just so much in here that's really going to help you out. I wanted to show you one thing, if I can find it. Where is it? Where'd it go? There was this one part that our sweet Amber did, and I just went, that is so brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? She did. Well, I can't find it now. But where's that wheel thing? Well, it's in here. You're going to love this. This is the tool. And then afterwards, everybody who's a participant, they will get more of the daily goal tracker pages so they can use that and make up their own journals. Isn't this so cool? Yes, the Slack group is set up for the Rising Tide already. It's ready to go. It's all ready to go. It starts on September 26th. That's a week from this Tuesday, I guess. A week from this Tuesday coming up. A week from yesterday. 2 weeks from yesterday. So get on that. If you want to watch the webinar, you can go to savingdinner.com/rising. That's where I did the webinar this past Monday. Or if you're just saying, you know what, that's it, I want to do this, because this 3-week intensive is off the chain, hot seats, a one-on-one with me, and we're going to get your goals done and dusted in a way that makes you do them and accomplish them, right? You can find all that information at savingdinner.com/rise. We've already got 10 people, I think, already have signed up for it. We have room for 15, 20, I think. So I'm telling you. And if you have not gotten your invitation for the Slack workspace yet, it's going out later today. So watch for it. If you've registered, watch for it. I'm so excited. That's like, I think, my favorite class, just because we get so into the weeds, and I like getting stuff done. Don't you? Like, I love shaking it up. By the way, Leptafix, you can find it at savingdinner.com/show. That's where we put the weekly show specials. That's what we do. Alrighty. Our quote of the week is a humdinger, thanks to James Clear. He said, "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits." Isn't that a crazy? I mean, it's not a crazy quote. It is a truthful quote. It nails you to the wall quote, because that's the truth. If we want to rise to the level of our goals, we have to rise to the level of a good habit and create this new habit. And that's what goals do. Have you noticed that? As you are determining, like, this is what I want to do, then the steps to getting those things done are just, first of all, they're just tasks, and then they become habits, and then it just becomes the way you operate in this world. I love that. So if you were with us yesterday, we talked about harnessing freedom, mental freedom, with the way you think, and looking through the different category, if you will, of all the stuff that holds us back. I mean, we talked about living in the past. We talked about negative thought loops. We talked about unhealthy relationships. There was so much that we talked about. We talked about the connection of personal growth to creating mental freedom, because there is so much of that there. When we have mental freedom, in other words, we're not bogged down by everything, then we have the space to create and to grow and to become all that we're meant to be. It makes sense, doesn't it? Because, I mean, we only have so much capacity. Everybody's like that. And so when we start dumping overthinking and the need for approval, and we stop having grudges and comparing ourselves to others, we find ourselves in a place of construction instead of destruction. And today I'm going to go take it a step further, and we're going to talk about how challenges can help pave the way to that mental freedom, which sounds kind of weird, I will admit, but it's true. Hey there, Jane. So when we embrace these hard, rocky paths, it could be a golden ticket to mental freedom. And I'm going to show you exactly why. There's some science based into this whole stuff, and there's some practical takeaways too, as well. And I want you to just come to this, if you will, as a wise woman with an open mind and a willing heart, because some of this it might be tough to hear, but some of it is going to be really, really helpful. Scouts honor, Scouts honor, Scouts honor. That's how it is. Remember that, Girl Scouts? All right. So I don't know about you, but sometimes the hard stuff in life can reduce me down to a blubbering pile of tears, just a big mess. It also points a very stern finger at me and says, this is who you are. And it shows me weaknesses, shows me strengths, but mostly it shows me where I'm allowing, if you will, myself to fall down, where I'm not girded up enough, where I need to do some work. And that's not negative, really. What that is just that's being honest. And sometimes we need that kind of honesty. And that's what tough times do. That's what the tough stuff shows us. So if you dare to look inside, if you dare, you're going to find the fortitude that you have through all this toughness and find that you can actually stay the course even when it's hard, because it's hard, and see yourself in a whole new light. And we know this. I'm going to bet you money right now. Every single one of you are sitting here thinking about that time that you did that and how you came out the other side going, wow, I can't even believe I did this. I had that kind of tenacity to go through with this. So the first thing we have to look at, of course, is resilience. And I think every single wise woman on this planet has a backbone made of resilience, because, it's not just about taking hard tasks off your list, but it's a conscious effort to build this kind of resilience that we're talking about that. So, for example, if you are engaged in a really rigorous fitness routine, you have to battle against the initial resistance of even wanting to show up, because you know what's going to happen. And as you do that, and you go through that obstacle, self-imposed, by the way, anyway, you find yourself feeling a whole lot different about yourself and about the thing in front of you and about how difficult it really is, because the journey itself isn't just physical, it's a head trip, right? And what we get to do as we go through these obstacles is we get to enhance and build new neural plasticity in our brains. And as we do that, our brains become younger, our lives become more vibrant, and we have a better belief in ourselves. We start to trust ourselves a little bit more. We adapt, we learn, and we grow. That's why I said this is really deeply connected to personal growth. And you can see the connection, I'm sure, right now. The other things that this does is it helps to develop this thing called self-efficacy. Let me talk about that a minute. There's a guy named Albert Bandura. We've talked about him before. He's an eminent psychologist, and he talks about this self-efficacy. It's a byproduct of success that comes from emanating challenges. A few weeks ago, months ago or something, we talked about him a little bit. So when you have that moment where you master something, or you get over something, or you finally break through to something, what happens is that you now have fostered this brand new belief in your abilities, in your competency. Jane, remember we talked about that yesterday? And we pave our way to a healthier mental outlook. And what does that do? It creates more freedom, mental freedom that we were just talking about, and also opportunities. Because we see things in a completely different perspective when we're looking through that lens of mental freedom. We're not bogged down anymore. We have a new perspective and a new respect for ourselves and a new respect for our capabilities. And we see the strength that we never maybe saw before. Have you ever noticed that? So there's also this other theory called the self-determination theory that says autonomy breathes life into intrinsic motivation. That's the inside job that we talk about. And that is going to always trump extrinsic motivation. Because when it's an inside job, there's nothing that can stop you. You become a heat-seeking missile. Your eye is on the target. You know what that feels like too. That is also a big time needle mover. And then we have to look at mental flexibility, because when we embrace these challenges with a cognizant mind, completely understanding what is ahead of us, then we're ready to forge these new pathways. And guess what that does? It enhances our mental flexibility, which also piggybacks on this idea of mental freedom. Mental freedom is something that I just believe we don't really look at enough because we get so bogged down with all the everydayness of things. Yes, there you go. There you go. I love, yeah, Brene Brown is so good. So, as we go through and we work through the complexities, as we go through and problem solve using every effort that we have in order to get through and over to the other side, um, we have to remember what this is doing for our brain. This is building those neural pathways. This is creating stronger cognizant reasoning. This is lightening up our brains, and it's also increasing the youthfulness of our brains. You know, One of the things about your brain is that it will shrink with age unless you're a lifetime learner, unless you are doing things like feeding it fish oil on a regular basis and not doing things that are going to dampen it. There's a lot of things. I really think we should have a whole, you know, we should probably do a webinar on how to keep a youthful brain because, I mean, we need that, right? We need that. And one of the biggest things, you guys, the number one thing, and in all the blue zones and everything, you ready for it? It's exercise. Because if we just sit, we lose it. We can't. We cannot. So, yeah, I love this concept of creating new neural pathways too, because that's what all of this is about. But we've got to unload all of this freight that we've been dragging around and around and around, and instead say, okay, enough of that already. Let's build, right? Let's build. And it also helps us to create these adaptive responses to stress, by the way. We adapt and we're able to take on things. Where before we were falling apart, now we're saying, wait a minute, what's the solution to this? You see that? I mean, that kind of a thing. Instead of falling apart, instead of just being one of those people where people are always saying, yeah, being around her is like walking around on eggshells because you never know when she's going to pop off or snap or whatever. That's somebody who has not taken the time to develop that kind of skill or that kind of maturity in the brain or that kind of neural flexibility. We have to have that. And when we have that, we can respond to stress in a way that is acceptable and responsible and not just be popping off and driving everybody crazy. There's science too to all of this, which offers us a window to this freedom. And that not only validates these experiences, but it also helps us to go further and keep going. Hey, Patsy. So here's some couple of things for you to think about. Okay, I've got some golden nuggets for you to think about. The first one is this: if you are saying, that sounds like something that I need to do, then let me encourage you. Start small. Don't start with something big, but every single challenge that we have, we don't have to necessarily hit every single challenge. We just need to hit even a part of a challenge. Like for example, if getting, like we just talked about earlier, it's like getting through that obstacle of getting started. Well, just put on your shoes, just get in the car and just go and say you're going to do 5 minutes at the gym or whatever. That will help. That will make a big, big difference. The other thing that we need to do is instead of beating ourselves up, we need to embrace these failures as lessons. I can learn from that. What's my takeaway? Remember the experience file? This is where we go and we extrapolate the lesson and say, this is what I was taught. This is what I learned from that. And then we can get rid of the other stuff. Because what happens and why we keep repeating the same thing over and over again and getting the same result, by the way, is because we so often look at all the stuff that we did wrong and beat ourselves up for that instead of looking at, aha, there's the lesson, and then just dismissing the rest of it. This is how we can rewrite our stories, by the way. This is how we can get past this stuff and get to the next thing. I love this because this is huge. And that's why the experience file is so necessary for our lives. We don't need to create ourselves into poster children for what not to do for X, Y, and Z. We don't. What we need to do is to rely on our knowing and say, okay, there's a lesson there. What is it? As wise women, you can pull that out. Promise. I know you can. The other thing is we need to look at the magic of momentum, this consistent practice of showing up and doing things and all of that. This is how the magic unfurls, y'all. It is. Because the magic is in the consistency. The consistency is how our resilience shows up. And our consistency is the way that we fortify these habits with courage. Doing it when you don't want to, showing up when it's inconvenient or hard. And it gives us a new sense of determination. I love that because we've all experienced that. It's just this is part of the hardest thing of change, is doing all of these things. And then our silent companion, the one that very few of us pull out of our back pockets, that's self-compassion. I promise you this, you're never going to do this perfectly, ever. But your excellence and your desire for excellence is enough. And if you just put that into action, then showing up for yourself is going to make it happen. And then if you add a little self-compassion, if it wasn't all that it was supposed to be, or that you meant it to be, or it could have been better, or whatever, but you show yourself compassion anyway, you're girding yourself up for the next time. And then the next time after that, and the next time after that. It gets better and better. Never perfect, always excellent. Isn't that such good news? I think that's amazing. So if we understand that the path to this mental freedom that we all really want, so that we can get on with our lives and quit rolling around in the past, quit beating ourselves up and comparing ourselves to others and all the rest of it, and fear of failure and blah, all of that. If we can do all of that, then we're going to find our Did you see that? So, look, shower yourself with kindness. You deserve it. Give yourself a break because you deserve that as well. But at the same time, look at what's going on. Can you fix something there? Is there just a little adjustment or a tweak that you can make? Can you dump some of this self-condemnation and the comparison to others and trying to please others and all this other kind of garbage, the stuff that we talked about yesterday? Can you do that? If you can, then you've got room to create personal growth and freedom in your head. And when you have that, I'm going to tell you the promise of that is resilience, is consistency, is persistence, is showing up for yourself, is peace of mind. Peace of mind. And I will tell you, this destination isn't just about reaching your goal. It's about evolving into the woman that you desire to be. Because we are always in a place of change. And I don't know about you, but my desire is a level up. That's where I want to go. You ready to do that with me? It's time to dump some of that stuff and replace it with all this goodness. What do you say? Yes? I hope you found today helpful. It's so good to see you, Nancy. It's been a while. And Jeanette, hello. I didn't see you too. You were there. Hello. And we will be back tomorrow, Thursday. We're going to finish off this whole series. And of course, we'll be back then on Monday. Now, I want you to remember, the rising tide is the big deal. It's filling up, and I want you to go grab your seat. And don't forget, look at this. Here's the workbook. These are all going out, by the way, to participants tomorrow. We're going to get the list out, and it's all going out. Super excited about this. I hope you join us. If you've missed the announcements, go to savingdinner.com/announcements. See you tomorrow. Peace.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.